What is up, Nephilim? This is the Chig coming at you with another Diablo 3 build guide for Season 30. Today we're going to be talking about the Pestilence Auto Lancer for Season 30 and why I think it is probably the best set to put together first to farm the other things for your Necromancer. But before we get started, go and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell notification icon so you get notified every time I come out with a new video. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about the speed build version of this for greater rifts. The reason I think this is the best build to use to make your other builds work is because it's probably one of the easiest to play. You hold down your force move and you press 2 buttons on repeat. It's super easy, super chill, and it just clears the screen. Anyway, let's hop right into the gear. We are using 6-piece Pestilence set. 2 set. Each corpse you consume fires a corpse lance at the nearby enemy. That is what we are using this for. 4-piece. Each enemy you hit with bone spear, corpse lance, and corpse explosion reduces your damage taken by 3% up to a maximum of 75%. Last 15 seconds. Auto casting this is going to get us our toughness real quick. 6 set. Each corpse you consume grants you an empower bone spear charge that increases the damage of your next bone spear by 6,000%. In addition, corpse lance and corpse explosion damage is increased by an additional 6,000%. So it's always just building on itself, doing big damage. So, easy TLDR, like I've said on a couple of these other videos. CDR, crit hit chance, crit hit damage. Put your element you're using here. On this one, we're using poison. As you can see, none of my gear has poison on it. And I'm still deleting everything, so it's fine. All right. So we are using the 6-set Pestilence, we are using the shoulders, the helmet, the chest, the gloves, and the boots. We are using 3-piece Captain Crimsons, we are using the belt and the pants to accomplish that. We're using Squirt's necklace because 100% multipliers be multiplying. As you can see, mine is rolled like garbage. I do not have crit, or cooldown on it. It's just int attack speed with a little bit of area damage. It is bad. Ancient Parthan Defenders that have dexterity on them because I haven't got a pair with int. Still blowing stuff up. Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac. This is helping us get our cooldown back. It's making sure we're keeping up Land of the Dead all the time. Our APDs, everything's always stunned around us because of the skills we're using. We'll go over that in a minute. So being able to reduce your damage taken by 9% for each enemy within 25 yards is helping us out there. And then we're using Crispin's Sentence, which mine is also bad. Int, speed, cooldown. Yeah, this deals 85% increased damage against slowed enemies or triple this bonus against enemies afflicted by any other type of control impairing effect. We're freezing them, they're stunned, so they're taking triple damage. We're using the Jessith set. So what this does is when the target of your command skeleton dies, your skeleton's automatically commanded to attack the next target. When your skeletons are commanded to attack a target, you deal increased damage. So this is just giving us a multiplier damage, and they always keep going, but one of the buttons we're spamming is command skeletons, so you don't have to worry about that. They'll always be commanded to do something. So let's jump into the gems. We're using the Essence of Anguish, increased damage against deletes, increased critical hit damage, increased damage, thorns, life per hit. What matters for us is your movement speed and cooldown reduction can be increased by up to 15 times by dealing poison damage to an enemy. We are always dealing poison damage to enemies. And every time you deal poison damage to an enemy, you increase your cooldown reduction and movement speed while your damage received is increased max 10 stacks. So we are zoom. And most of the time, you will see me just running around. I very rarely press Blood Rush because that locks you in an animation and you can't use your other abilities when you're doing it. So I only use Blood Rush if I really need to, which we don't really need to, or if there are no mobs around me. You'll see that in the gameplay section. We are using Bane of the Powerful because it's always up when we're doing speed stuff. Increased damage by 20% after killing an elite. And the 25 bonus is 15% increased damage versus an elite, 15% reduced damage from elites. We're using Zai's Stone of Vengeance. Damage deal is increased by 8.4% for every 10 yards, up to a maximum of 42%. 20% chance to stun the enemy. The enemies are always stunned, but the further we are away, the more damage it does. Basically, as soon as something's on our screen, it's going to get hit So this is helping us out there. And then we are using Bane of the Trapped, increased damage against enemies under the effect of crowd controlling effects. Everything all the time because of how our build's set up. And it gives us an aura for if we were playing a different build. Then in our helmet, we're using Shard of Hatred. This gives us some int, some life, some cooldown reduction. All those good things. You now deal 10% increased damage for every enemy instead of 5 extra damage. So you deal 15% reduced damage while you have 3 or fewer enemies within 25 yards. If there are more than 3 within the same distance, you deal, as it said, 10% more, up to a maximum of 100%. So this is just you deal more damage if there's a lot of things close to you. You deal less damage if there aren't. So let's talk about the cube. Messerschmitt's Reaver. We just want this to get our cooldowns down as fast as possible. The cooldowns that matter are Land of the Dead. As you can see, Blood Rush has a super short cooldown and nothing else except for our Bone Armor has a cooldown, and we keep Bone Armor up all the time. Corpse Whisper Pauldrons. Corpse Lance damage is increased by 75% for 3 seconds when you consume a corpse, max 20 stacks. This goes all the way up real quick and never falls off because we just zoom, zoom, zoom. Funny story about these, when I got them, the first pair I got was Primal, so I put a Primal in the cube and it felt bad. Alright, and then Ring of Royal Grandeur to make sure we got our 6-piece and our 3-piece. Let's talk about the skills real quick. Corpse Lance, Poison, Ricochet here. Alright, so it just gives it a 20% chance to ricochet and hit another target for the same amount of damage. Bone Armor, Harvest of Anguish. We are going to just be using this to give us more movement speed. We're going to stack it up to 10, and then we're just going to make sure it doesn't fall off. Blood Rush Potency. If you don't have the toughness, you can focus on keeping this up. I really don't even have to worry about this most of the time. I only use it to get to new people most of the time. Command Skeleton. Dark Mending. This is making it where they will heal us for 0.5% of our total missing health while they're being commanded. With the skull set, they are always being commanded, even if we're not actively commanding them, but we're going to be spamming it, so they're just always going to be healing us. Devour Voracious. So we are going to reduce our essence cost by 2% for each corpse consumed for 5 seconds. So we're just going to be using this to continually make corpses get devoured. And we are going to reduce the cost of command skeletons, so we're basically going to be at full essence all the time, right? This is going to be awesome. And then Land of the Dead. All corpse skills can be used for 10 seconds. Enemies Land of the Dead are periodically frozen. This CCs everything and just allows us to spam our Devour to auto lance, and that's kind of how the build works. We're using Blood as power. After losing 100% of your maximum life, all ability cooldowns are reduced by 20%. So this is the whole reason that this even works. So Blood Rush just reduces your cooldowns. So if you're using Blood Rush, it will help your cooldowns, but most of the time you don't need your cooldowns helped. So this is there if you need it. Dark Reaping. While using a scythe, gain 2% essence and life per kill. We're always using a scythe. This is always going to be keeping us at full HP and full essence. Fueled by Death, we're getting more movement speed every time we consume a corpse, which is all the time. You're going to see we are running around like mad. And then Final Service, this is our cheat death just in case we need it. So this is everything we need. If you put a potion in here, use whatever potion you have. I haven't even gotten a potion for this guy yet. So let me show you guys the gameplay. Go over here, gonna start at 90. So first thing you want to do, you can go ahead and use potency. As soon as you see mobs, go ahead and pop Land of the Dead and just start spamming those buttons. As soon as you're close to mobs, go ahead and hit your bone armor to get your bone armor up, and then now you're just zooming. Now the whole thing you're going to be doing is as soon as Land of the Dead falls off, you're going to pop it back on, right? So it's going to be up for 10 seconds at a time. Try not to let it fall off, because if it falls off, that is when you have to just like run around in circles and try to not get hit. But as long as you're just zooming like I am, you will always be able to keep it up, right? Because you are always going to be able to be hitting things frequently enough to make your obsidian ring keep it going, and your Messerschmitt's is going to be reducing your cooldowns while you're running around as well, because mobs are just continually being unalived, right? So we're just going to keep rolling as we go. try not to hit Land of the Dead unless you need to refresh it. Unless it has fallen off, try not to hit the button, because if it is on cooldown when you need it, that is the only time you are in danger, ever. As you can see, it does take us an extra couple seconds to kill a Juggernaut, but that's because they're Juggernauts. Alright, so as you can see, I did not pop any of my cooldowns until I knew where I was going. So now we're rolling again. Just make sure you're keeping your Land of the Dead active. Make sure you are not popping it early. Make sure you are just continually spamming your command skeletons and your devour. Okay, so you notice I quit pushing buttons as soon as he spawned. Now that he's attackable, we're going to pop everything again, and he's down. All right, less than 2 minutes. So what you're going to do, if you can't keep everything up the whole time, your job is to bring down the level of Greater Rift you're doing until you can. That is the goal. You want to bring it down until you can. Once you can, you're going to be slaying just as fast as possible, and you're going to be rocking it out. So that is how the Auto Lancer GR speed works. I will also show you guys the T16 version, which is basically exactly the same. You only move a couple of things around, but I don't want the video to be super long. So that is the Auto Lancer for Season 30, and I will catch you guys in Sanctuary. See ya.